gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself.
There is only one life. The all-knowing, all-giving, all-blessing life that we call God. This life is love. And that love is within each one of us today and every day. We are called here today to be the love of God and to join together by divine appointment to spread that love all around, to be present in this service as we joyfully celebrate the opportunity to express God together. How grateful we are to know that this day we are blessed by all of the volunteers who have brought their love to make this service possible. Not only the volunteers, but the musicians who bring forth so much joy to our hearts with their harmony and their loving energy. And we are so grateful for Reverend Jen, who brings her speaking to us, to our hearts. And that speaking is from her heart of love, which brings forth all that we need to hear for our satisfaction and for our growth. How blessed we are to be a part of this service. And we are so blessed to know that wherever anyone is, God is. Whether it's in a temple, a sanctuary such as ours, on a mountaintop, around a kitchen table, this is where God is. And we are so grateful for every path that leads to a greater understanding of God. So for this, and so very much more, we are grateful to be here in the land of love. And we join and say together,
and so it is.
The first of the words of inspiration today is from Eric Hoffer. And Eric says, "The creative mind is a playful mind. Philosophy is the play and dance of ideas." And that famous one, Anonymous, tells us, "Taking time to play, to do nothing, often brings everything into perspective." Our founder, Ernest Holmes, stated this: "Life is not just something to be endured. It is to be lived in joy, in a fullness without limit. We're born to be happy, to be abundantly supplied with every good thing, to have fun in living, and to consciously unite with the divine power that is around and within us, and to grow and to expand forever."
I'd like you to take a moment and look at the picture on the screen in front of you and the butterfly wings. And I want you to go into that wonderful thing we call the deep recess of the mind and connect with something from playful times in your life that to you are butterfly wings, or fairy wings, or angel wings, or a baseball bat, or a baseball, or a mitt. Those things, those symbols that we have from that life that we have lived maybe years ago, maybe more recently. And what did it feel like to be in that place of playfulness? As we continue our theme this month for a pause for guidance, today we take a playful pause. A playful pause. And so I'm going to encourage you this week to do this very thing. In fact, I'm going to encourage you to do it today. There's a person in this room right now who's wearing their swimsuit under their clothing because they're going to go play. And I'm not going to point them out, and don't look around. Playfulness, a key part of who we are. In shamanic societies, if you come to a medicine person and you're complaining because you feel disheartened, dispirited, depressed, they ask you one of 4 questions. I'm going to tell you what the 4 questions are. When did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing? When did you stop being enchanted by stories? And when did you stop being comforted by the sweet territory of silence? So today's the reminder to do these things. Humans are inherently playful. You may have forgotten this. When we are small children, we're told to stop it, knock it off, sit down, take a time out, and we start to forget about being playful. But if you look at an infant, a child, their natural behavior is playfulness. It's not to study something and to try and dissect it and focus on it. It is to play with it or put it in their mouth, whichever the mood strikes. So I want to remind us of this today and really take a look at this. Children don't ever worry about playing too much. It is the adult that tells them that tells them to stop, to change, to shift. When you are doing something that feels like rest or play, and the voice kicks off that says you've done it for long enough, ask yourself whose voice that is. Because I happen to know it is not the voice of God that's telling you to knock it off or to stop. You know, we've become so accustomed to thinking that we're only productive or worthy if we are in task mode. That we have to accomplish something. That we can't bring all the groceries home and just leave them sit on the counter. We have to put them away immediately. That if there is something on the floor or the carpet, we've got to get the vacuum out and then the mop and then whatever. We think that we have to, balance the budget and do all of these things, and we're in this doing, and what we forgot is that we are human beings. Human beings. In addition to children being really good at play, so are animals. Our animals know when we're stressed. Our animals know when we're challenged or we're uncomfortable or we're out of harmony or out of balance. And they bring us a toy. I remember last year when the production team was coming into my home, and one of the first times we brought Lotus back into the house, because we used to send my dog off somewhere while we did the recordings. And I was speaking in front of the camera, and I got a little hitch in my voice. I got a little emotional, and the next thing I know, there's this toy in my lap. And you can see the top of the dog's head and most of her tail. And of course, then we got to re-record that. And it didn't dawn on me at that moment, but she was trying to comfort me. She was trying to get me into playful mode. So pay attention to those things. So here's how seriously I take my job. When I looked at this talk title and realized that I was going to talk about playfulness today, I thought, well, I better go do some play. And I did. I took 2 days, and I went to my son Jeremy's house. He lives at the top of Monument Hill. And I hung out with my 6-year-old grandson Gabriel for 2 full days. And we played. And we played. I climbed up in the treehouse with him, and we got the finger paints out. I watched him as we played with water balloons. And because he's afraid he can't throw the water balloon hard enough, he just drops it right in front of you, which is really fun. But he also knows that in the part of play, there's a little bit of other stuff that has to take place. He has learned that he has to put all of the toys away before he can have the next toy or the next project. He has learned that we have to pick up all of the balloon pieces that are all over the ground so that the birds don't pick them up. We played with Nerf guns. I asked him at one point in time, I said, so what do you love the most? And he said, carrots and Minecraft. So then I got to learn about Minecraft, and I got to learn about Lego worlds and all kinds of wonderful games that he plays where he creates stuff on a screen. It's just amazing. He explained to me where dreams come from and how they work inside his head. He explained to me how he feels when he's bored and how he just can't hardly stand to have that feeling of boredom. And his house and the area where they live is a child's playground. My son has hung big chains from the huge pine trees and big swings, and we sat in the swings and just took time to be. I've never laughed so much or so hard in a 2-day time frame as listening to this amazing child using 3- and 4-syllable words that he can't hardly pronounce, but he knows what he's saying as he's explaining stuff to me. And then he goes into pretend mode. And when he's in pretend mode, he tells you what you have to be thinking as well, which is very helpful for me, because I didn't have to think about it at all. My son told me that some days when he comes home from work, he's so exhausted, he can't hardly stand it. He works for the water department in the town of Palmer Lake. And he's the guy that's out digging the ditch if something goes wrong. So he has a pretty grueling job. And he said, Mom, sometimes I come home and I'm just so exhausted, and I know Gabriel's going to want time with me. He said, but you know what I've noticed? Within a couple of minutes of interacting with him and listening to all his creative talk, I get like re-energized. And I think that's something we forgot. Somewhere we decided that play was exhausting. And it's not. It's rejuvenating. It's that place of creating the things that we want and need in our lives. Alan Watts said this: this is the real secret of life. To be completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now. And instead of calling it work, realize it's play. We label everything. We make it good, bad, positive, negative, ugly, pretty. We have these wonderful things we do. We could stop doing that, or we could just start calling it all play. Start calling it all play and see what happens. When I take time each week to create my talks, is one of my favorite moments. And it's funny because I procrastinate. I try to put it off until exactly that right time. And even then I sit down and I start looking up quotes, and I allow ideas to come, and I allow stories to show up. And that is playful for me. If you think I'm here because I'm doing a job, you are mistaken. I'm not working. I'm not working at this. If I'm working at this, I'm not having a good time, and you'll know in a heartbeat. But I love this. I love this, putting it together and bringing that creative piece forward. And that's when Spirit can really speak to us, is in that moment of creativity. That's when I feel more connected in God, is when I'm allowing some time to come to create something. So think about that for a minute. What do you enjoy doing? What do you enjoy doing? What are the things that you used to do or that you like to do today that are fun for you, that seem playful, that seem silly, that seem nonsensical? And what's it going to take for you to spend some time with that this afternoon? Today. I'm not going to tell you to wake up tomorrow morning. We're not waiting. You get to do it today. Dance. Dance is amazing. And here's what I can share with you about dancing. Your brain does not know the difference between activity and thought. Let me say that again. Your brain does not know the difference between thought and activity. When you wake up from dream state, you have been in thought, and your body is reacting exactly the same way it would have if you had been actually doing whatever you were dreaming. Would you agree with that? Okay, so if you and your beautiful body have reached that point in your life where dance just ain't working for you anymore, sit down, crank up the music, and envision yourself dancing. Think about how it feels, think about how it looks, think about that freedom of movement, and allow yourself to dance and play. And play. Deborah Rebel said, being playful naturally liberates the mind, opens the heart, and lifts the spirit. There's a Hasidic tale about a rabbi, and he was on his way to teach a village, and the people in the village were very interested in his ideas, and they were very excited that he was coming. It was going to be a big event, huge. So each Jew in the community started to make preparations. And they started pondering what questions they wanted the rabbi to answer for them. They wanted to hear his wisdom about things that were going on in their lives, so they started making lists of things that they were going to ask him. There was so much anticipation waiting for him to arrive. When he came to the place where he was to meet them, he silently walked into the room. And they all just were, when you've got that kind of energy and you just can't wait for the guy to stop moving around and sit down and start answering your questions, and you can feel the excitement. And he just kept kind of walking around. And then he started to hum a song. And he continued to walk around, and he continued to hum. And they found the tune familiar, so what started happening was the people in the room started to also hum the song. And the more they hummed, the louder it got, and soon the rabbi began to dance and hum. And within a very short time, all of the people in the community were also humming and dancing and just moving around the room in this gentle movement of dance. For hours, they continued to move and dance. And late into the evening, the rabbi started to slow down the song and slow down the movement until he brought it to a stop. And he looked around the room and he made eye contact with everyone there, and he said this: I trust I have answered all your questions. When we take time for dance, for singing, for joy, for playfulness, whatever it is we're seeking comes to us. When we sit and focus on a piece of paper and we scrunch up that place between our eyebrows and we can't think of anything else and we allow our body to get tense, that idea, that answer, that solution is a million miles away. All we have to do is hum and dance. Carl Jung said this: the creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play method, acting from inner necessity. The creative mind plays with the objects it loves. Let's take time this week to move into creative mind. As the song said, get your head out of wherever, turn off the news, and play. And allow spirit, that inspiration, in spirit, that inspiration to move in you, through you, to be inspired, to get a new idea. Yesterday I was sitting for just a few minutes and I was thinking, because, I'm telling you not to do this, so of course I'm doing this. I should be doing something. I should be creating something. What should I be doing? There seems like there's something I should be doing right now. And I didn't force anything. I just kind of had that little pass, where that kind of idea went through. And this morning I came up with 5 things that I have in my home that I can do today that I would call our play and creative. So what do you have in your space, and what can you tap into? We got to play with Gabriel's chemistry set, which was frightening, but it was really exciting. And a lot of the things that he has are just beakers with colored water in them. Well, that's my assumption. Who knows what was in those beakers? His mom and dad knew. I didn't need to know. And just to look at all the different colors on the table that he had in this little stand, and as he's mixing stuff up and he's putting some kind of powder in it and then it's bubbling and whatever, just to be soothing yourself with the idea of use of color and texture. I don't think there's one of us in here who hasn't worked really hard, struggled really hard to have made a solution or created a solution to a problem, only to walk out of the room, walk away, have to run to the store, have to do something else for a minute, and the solution is right there. We want to stay within the synchronicity of the flow of life. Anything else is resistance. Allowing ourselves to be, allowing others to be. So this week I encourage you to take a playful pause. Let go of the mental, physical intensities that are going on around you. If someone is calling you and that's the message they bring to you, you don't have to answer the phone. That was a lesson I tried to teach my dad for years. Dad, you don't have to answer the phone. And he just would look at me in shock because he couldn't understand how I could not answer the phone if someone was calling. It wasn't his era, that wasn't his generation. Now, don't ignore them forever. You're going to have to call them eventually. But in that moment, when you're doing that pause to be, let that one go. If you can't figure anything else out, go outside. Look at the blades of grass. Look at the flowers. Look at the trees. Look at the kids across the street. I have these 2 little kids that live across the street from us, 2 small children, and they're just adorable. And they have to yell hello to me every time they see me. And they've always got something going on over there, something playful. And just to watch them, allow yourself to be in playful mode. Ernest Holmes says this: Spirit knows within itself, and as a result of this interaction, creation manifests. Creation is the play of life upon itself through divine self-imagination. Spirit must create in order to be expressed. Spirit must create in order to be expressed. If we're blocking the creative flow, it's really tough for Spirit to express through us. And I believe that Spirit would prefer to express through playfulness. We are here on purpose, and it is our playful existence that demonstrates Spirit to all people and all things. I just have one point for you today. Just one. The hard part is over. It's time to play. Join me in prayer. And practitioners, please stand as we hold the consciousness of this community. Everyone that's present and everyone that is not present. And what we know right here and right now is that God is here. That Spirit divine, that inner wisdom, that inspiration is here now, surrounding us, filling us with each and every one of us. God is. God is. How good, how beautiful, how blessed that is. And what I know right here and right now is that each and every one of us has the opportunity today to play, to put aside the doing part of life and just step into being, as Spirit has created us, allowing that creative flow to move through us, allowing that action and activity of playfulness to lift us, to guide us, to support us. What a perfect world it is to live in, to be in this place of harmony, to be in this place of joyfulness, to be in this place of being. I know all people are blessed. And I know each and every one of us has an opportunity today and this week to simply ease our minds and allow the space for play. And God smiles. How beautiful this is, how perfect it is. I call it good, I call it God, and I know that it is already alive in the mind of God. So I simply let it go. I let it be, and together we say, and so it is.
I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold.
Hello, I'm Reverend Jen Wild, Senior Minister for New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living. New Dawn Center is a global community, and we welcome all people, all paths, all ways of thinking, all philosophies. So know that you are welcome here, and thank you for joining our online community.